You ever wanted to play a racing game with cool hoverbikes, crazy racetracks, fighting arenas, and just absolute pure chaos? May I introduce to you Airframe Ultra. Airframe Ultra is an indie game currently being developed by Video Cult and published by Acute Horror Games, but you may know them as being the same people who made Rainworld.
I am full of sandwich!
For those who don't know, Airframe Ultra is a multiplayer racing game where you ride around on these really cool hoverbikes known as airframes, and you race random people in different maps. And then there's also pit stops where you fight people using weapons scattered around the map that you have to buy. Yeah, there's money in this game. Recently, on May 1st, 2025, they decided to do their second open beta test on their Discord over the weekend. And guess who got access to it? No, wasn't Seth. Not Fishy either. What? Why would it be Jed? It's not even on social media. Yeah, that's right. It's me. Yeah, you're looking at the #1 Airframe Ultra beta racer. Yep, it's totally what they call me. Yeah, sadly, if you wanted to be part of the beta test, it ended a few days ago at the time of recording. But don't worry, this was just one of many beta tests to come. So I'm sure you'll get a chance to join in soon. Unless you're watching this really far into the future, then you could probably just get the game. But for now, it's time for me to document about my experience. In this beta, we got to play in some fun maps. We got the Warehouse, Quarry, and NightRide. My beloved. I absolutely loved NightRide. I was told on the Discord that apparently the previous beta had 2 other maps, but sadly they weren't in this one. Now let me tell you about NightRide. It was the best map out of the 3. Let me explain why. It had the backgrounds, the buildings, the arenas, the racetrack. It was just so perfect. Like, look at this building. See how the lights move in the windows? Like, you could actually see it reflecting somehow. I don't even know how they did that. How can I not call this awesome? It was also just a lot of fun driving around these quiet streets at night. My favorite part of it all was when you entered onto this highway and you drove along the wrong side of the road as you try to dodge all the cars as you watched the beautiful background. Every time, I would always try to get a perfect run, but there would always be that one stupid, annoying car that ruins it all. The 2 fighting arenas in the map were also pretty good. One being in a tram station, and another being in some sort of sports field. At least I think it was a sports field. Probably wrong, but either way, they both were good arenas. Small, but good. But sadly, it can't always be extremely perfect. There were a few parts of the track that I kinda hated. First off, the streetlights were all solid, so you would always crash into them, which would get really annoying, especially when you're in the lead going 100 kilometers an hour. Yeah, I get it. They're trying to be realistic, but like, I don't want to crash into them every 10 minutes. And then there was this one part of the track where you drive through this shopping center. Or maybe it was a warehouse. I don't know what it is, but I do know is it would get so annoying because you'd constantly crash into these shelves that would slow down your airframe by a fair bit. Like, I'm talking quite slow. Like, you're in the lead, and then you're racing against someone else who's on the second layer, and then you crash into them, and then suddenly you're at last place, and everyone's all zoomed past because they decided to take the higher route. Ugh. And this one stupid, annoying arena that I only just found out is actually a playground where it's just pitch black and it's super tiny, and so you're just driving around in circles, crashing into things, and spamming the weapon button, hoping to get a kill. And it's just absolute madness. Ugh. It was only until after the beta that we found out all we had to do this whole time was turn on our headlights. I didn't even know that they were turned off. I just thought the map was really dark. Despite the small sections I hate, the highway makes up for everything. So I absolutely love NightRide. I'll give it an 8 out of 10. Yeah, we're ranking these. Now, let's move our attention onto Quarry. Quarry is kind of my least favorite. Sorry to say. A main reason was because it is just so difficult to traverse. It has this road that was similar to NightRide's highway, but if someone had flipped the canvas and made it day. Instead of cars, they were giant blocks or clumps of junk, and you'd either get flown into the air and lose speed, or you'd crash and die. And both sides would go in opposite directions, so if you were driving on the right side, you'd be very slow, while on the left side, you're going really fast. And then there was this little part of the map where you drove around on the ground, and sometimes it was hard to not crash into the walls, especially when you're going through this tunnel that'll just lead to a sudden turn, or another tunnel that would lead you to this cliff that you could fall into. Although I kind of like that edge, as it gives some good kicking opportunities. So I regret that one time where I completely missed someone, and it was the only time I saw someone stuck there. But the one bit I hated the most out of all of these areas has to be this one room that was just full of these giant cubes that you could easily, and I mean easily, get stuck in. I can't tell you how many times I got stuck in these. They were so annoying. So apparently people have managed to find out a few out-of-bounds shortcuts, and they are just absolutely insane. Look them up. They're on YouTube. Go ahead, look them up right now. They're insane. And then the arenas, the main two are good, but they're very big. So it's very easy for everyone to just be zooming around the place, being all chaotic, making it difficult to get a kill. But I do like how one arena has a place where you walk around and attack people from up high, and the other arena has this gate that opens up to a big hole where you can get a free katana. They're usually about $1,000. Honestly, I don't have much hate for the main fights. It's the quick fights I have issues with. There's this big room with so many cubes, making it very hard to traverse around, and it's very easy to crash into them. There's also this one quick fight where the arena is so tiny, it's a little too chaotic and hard to drive around. It'd be easier if it were a vehicleless fight, you know, you're wandering around having a fist fight. That'd be so much easier to do than whatever is happening here. Yeah, Quarry, not my favorite map. Fun one, but not my favorite. 5 out of 10. And now we move on to the last map, Warehouse. Good old classic Warehouse. Warehouse is kind of known as the hangout place where people just kind of run around, do whatever in the world that yellow dude is doing. I don't know what the heck he's doing. What is he doing? Guys, tell me, what is he doing? And chill on the lounges in the corner. It's either that or a chaotic map full of people running around using all the weapons in the weapon room. Yeah, It can either be this peaceful map or this extremely chaotic map, or it's a mix of both. Like, it's peaceful and then there's this one crazy dude going around the map shooting people. Something to know about Warehouse, though, is that it's one of the maps that has been available all the time. And it sure has grown a fair bit since the tutorial demo. Like, it's huge. There's so many new out-of-bounds stuff, and a new small extension to the map that ends with a random hole that you can fall into. Yeah, I don't know what that is about. Hope they patch that up. I also found this weird little area that you can actually get to with a bunch of laser stuff. I don't know what's going on here. They should probably move this. But there's one thing I like about Warehouse, and it's the ball. It's just fun to bounce a ball around to your pals to try and play soccer with. But my favorite thing to do with it is to grab a minigun, right? Hear me out, and then you shoot it. Warehouse is a very fun map, and I'm curious to see what will happen to it in the future. 7 out of 10. Now, I've only mentioned the maps and the racing side of the game. What I haven't explained is the fighting side. Yeah, get this. This isn't just your ordinary racing game. Who would have known? By adding really cool weapons, it makes the game so much more fun. How you get the weapons in the game is by finding them scattered around the map. But first, you also gotta collect money by completing races, running into these green hoops, or by committing murder. The weapons can go up to $20 to $1,500. There are so many weapons in the game. I don't know how I would list them all, but we got melee weapons like baseball bats, signs, and a pole. Throwables like bombs and shurikens, blasters. Yes, I'm trying not to get in trouble. And protective gear like shields and armor. My favorites from the different types have to be the katana and the chainsaw. They're both fun to use, especially if you grab yourself a shield. Then you can do some dual wielding with a katana. With katana, you can slash around at people like crazy. And chainsaw, you could just absolutely destroy someone. My other favorite is chain, because you could just grab people and drag them off of their airframes. It's kind of funny, although I can never really grab someone. Yeah. There's also this cool electric rod thingy, although it's not my favorite because I could never figure out how you use it. Or either that or I'm using it wrong. I don't know. Also, similar to Rainworld, our characters can actually do some pretty cool moves to get around. Here's a bit of me trying to practice some of them. We got this cool move where you jump and crouch. You could do this cool slide. Another where you can roll. While I was practicing, I found this guy who somehow managed to make a chain by doing a flip, allowing him to continuously jump around, which made him very fast. I do not want to have to compete against him. Please tell me he stops playing. I annoyingly could not figure out how to do a flip. I pressed every button that my Steam Deck had, but I just couldn't do it. That was until the final day. On the final day, with 9 hours in, 9 hours! I decided that I absolutely must do a flip on the final day of the beta. And so, after constant failure of trying to pull it off, I decided to ask the Discord. And it was only then that I finally figured it out, and my dream had come true. Turns out, I just had to walk forward and then jump backwards. That took way longer than it should have. So, is Airframe Ultra good? Yes. Sure, it's not finished. There are a lot of spots that need a bit more polishing, but for a racing game and beta, I'd say it's really good. I mean, seriously, I played this game for 9 hours? What? And something to know, I absolutely suck at the game, and yet I kept playing it. I don't know why. Maybe it was the airframes, the fighting, the racing, the maps, the chaos. Or maybe I just really like driving fast on that one highway in NightRide. Ah, NightRide. Someday we will reunite. I guess we'll never know. Yeah, it's probably because I really like NightRide. Shh, don't tell anyone. Airframe Ultra Beta, I give it an 8 out of 10. I'm very keen to see what the future for this game will be like. Happy racing, everyone. Now enjoy a free montage of me dying every 5 seconds. Yep!